So let's take the blessings from our ISKCON Sheshadripuram deities. जय जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रमाई की जय, गौरनिताई की जय, पंचतत्व की जय, गिरि गोवर्धन की जय, शिला प्रभुपाद की जय, गुरु महाराज की जय. We'll do the prayers. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः. नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपिष्टाय भूतले श्रीमती भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनीति नामिनि. नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणी निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणी. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा शिवासादि गौर भक्तविंदा. हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. So today we are covering chapter 9, slok number 28, and today also happened to be Ram Navami. So we'll try to relate how actually Prabhu's wordings actually match with Ram Navami. So we'll see the shloka first. शुभ अशुभ फले एवं मोक्षये कर्म बंधने संन्यास योगा युक्तात्मा विमुक्त माम उपेश्यसि. ट्रांसलेशन बाय शिला प्रभुपाद. शिला प्रभुपाद की जय. In this way, you will be freed from bondage to work and its auspicious and inauspicious result. With your mind fixed on me in this principle of renunciation, you will be liberated and come to me. Anybody would like to read the shloka and translation? It's a very important shloka and very well matched with the Ram Navami. So
Hare Krishna,
anybody would
Prabhuji.
like? Yes, Kalyani Mataji. Hare
Bhagavad
Krishna.
Gita 9.28. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. शुभाशुभफलैरेवं मोक्ष्यसे कर्मबन्धनैः सन्न्यासयोगयुक्तात्मा विमुक्तो मामुपैष्यसि. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. In this way, you will be freed from bondage to work and its auspicious and inauspicious results. With your mind fixed on me in this principle of renunciation, you will be liberated and come to me. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So Ram Navami is just not the historical birthday of Sri Ram, but it is the appearance of Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in what role? It is in his role of Maryada Purushottam. So what is this Maryada Purushottam? So Maryada Purushottam is the perfect, or you can say perfection of the moral law and sacrifice. So we have seen how Lord Ram was conducting the moral laws and what amount of sacrifice a person can do. So what was the divine actually purpose? What was the purpose, as we have discussed before also? So there is a purpose for the divine to appear. So what was the purpose? So this purpose is also emphasized in the verse 8 from the chapter 4. Anybody can recollect what was the
Yada
verse?
yada hi dharmasya
Yes,
glanirбhavati bharata, Prabhuji.
correct. Paritranaya sadhuna vinashaya.
Vinashaya cha dushkritam.
So Lord Sri Ramchandra appears for three purposes. So what was the three purpose for Lord to appear? So in that, number one is to protect his devotees. And number two, to inhaliate the envious, the demons, right? And the third, very important, is to set the standard. So when we say to protect the devotees, so you see that time it was to relieve the sages and devotees who were being terrorized by demonic forces. So every yuga there will be demonic forces. So during that time of Treta Yuga, so there was these demonic forces who were troubling the sages and devotees. So to protect his devotee, he appeared. And the second one is to annihilate the envies, the people or whoever who is envious of Lord. So Lord destroys him. So in that Treta Yuga, specifically to stop Ravana, and who Ravana he represent ultimate materialistic person, right? Someone who actually want Lakshmi. So what is Lakshmi? Lakshmi is not that money, right? So Lakshmi is the goddess of fortune and Sita. So what was Ravana's materialistic intention? He want Sita, the goddess of fortune, or Lakshmi. So that is okay. Even today's world, we everybody is seeking for that, but without Narayana, the Lord. So whenever you seek Lakshmi and without Narayana or the Lord, then the problem will occur. So the problem here was in Treta Yuga, Ravana he is actually after Lakshmi, and he used to think himself as Lord. And how Lord Rama he set the standard. He shows the humanity, the complete humanity, how to live perfectly as a son, as a brother, as a husband, and as a king. Right? So you can relate every yoga with his set of living standard. So every yoga, you have a role to play. May it be a brother, son, or husband, wife, or a king that time. Now it is leaders. Right? So we have to think whether whatever position we are right now, are we, in the path of that which is set by Lord Rama, the standards that is set by Lord Rama. So in Treta Yuga, when the world was completely burdened with these cities of Ravana, that time Ravana had a boon. And what was that boon? He got the boon that he would not be killed by any god. Not only God, but he cannot be killed by any Gandharvas or demons. But what happened in his arrogance? He forget to ask for protection from humans. And that is when Lord appeared as human. So his appearance, Lord Rama appeared in the dynasty of Sun, right? Ishwaku Vamsa. So he was the elder son of King Dhritarashtra and Queen. Who was the queen?
Kaushalya.
Kaushalya, yes. And that is in Ayodhya, right? So he appeared in the ninth day, Navami. So that is what is today, Navami, in the month of Chaitra month, right? So his appearance signifies that even the Supreme Lord is willing to accept the bondage of human rules and suffering. So we very well know Lord took human birth, and when you take a human birth, you will be you have to accept the bondage. And see, nowadays in Kali Yuga also, we don't like to have the bondage. But we have to remember that if we are born as a human, we will have bondage, right? So human rules and suffering. So Lord have that exile, right, and loss, just to teach us how to remain fixed in unalloyed devotion. So we have seen how he was the king, right? And that time he was supposed to be in the shoes of the king Dhritarashtra. But what he got, even being in the as an elder son, he got exile, 14 years of exile. But with force, he can actually demand for that, but he never demanded anything, right? So he played his duty. Now, when we are focusing on this Krishna's instruction, so Lord Rama is the practical demonstration of this particular verse of this chapter 9, slok number 28. So he showed something, renunciation. So when Rama was asked to go to the forest, he did not feel inauspicious or sadness. He nor he actually craved for the auspicious throne. He was complete sannyasa yoga yuktatma. So linked with the divine will through renunciation. And the lesson is that he showed that the liberation, which is also called as vimukta. So he showed that the liberation is maintaining your internal peace, whether you are wearing a crown in a palace or bark in the jungle. So that is more important. So nowadays, what we always say, ki, I deserve this, I deserve that. So we just see that how what actually Rama was deserving. But to maintain the internal peace, whether you are wearing a crown in the palace or your bark in the jungle. So liberation, that is what is liberation, right? He maintained that standards. So now today is the birth of Maryada Purushottam. He is the perfect man. We are celebrating Ram Navami when we are in a state where there is perfect storm. So what is this perfect storm? So right now we can see that there is global war going on. There are so many alliances who is shifting here and there, shifting of alliances, and there is a deep uncertainty. Maybe we have not felt this heat immediately right now, but you can see that uh, the developing countries, there are many countries who's already started getting the heat. So we are seeing some of the places because of this oil, some places, the smaller countries where, hospitals, ICUs, the newborn baby, they are dying because there is no electricity supply. So because those countries are heavily depending on the oil and to convert the oil into electricity. And you see this is hospitals, ICU wards. There is no electricity and the newborn kids, they are not getting the treatment, they are dying now. And like that, there are so many places. You see, not only that, in Pakistan, the cylinder cost is 3,500, and So slowly, the developed countries are also going to get the heat. So even you see in our nation, uh, the prices are somewhere holding by the leaders, but sooner or later we will also feel this storm. So we are right now in that stage, right? So during the Ram Rajya, Ram Rajya is considered as the gold standards of peace, right? But how actually he achieved it? Not through this military mights, but through consciousness of Gita, this particular slok, 9.28. So what is the connection? So 9.28 says, with your mind fixed onto me in this principle of renunciation, you will be liberated. So Rama's life is a masterclass in how to stay liberated and fixed even when your world is being torn apart by the conflicts, various conflicts and exile. Right? So in 2026, this year, the leaders and citizens, they are obsessed with holding the grounds, securing their borders. Right? So this is actually the bondage of war. So think of the moment is Ram was Rama was holding, right? How he was holding the ground. So he was told he would not be the king, but he will get the exile. So instead of becoming the king of Ayodhya, he got years, 14 years of Vanvas. And now you see when you apply this particular shloka number 28, Rama accept both with the same calm. Why? Because his mind was fixed on dharma, the divine will, not the fruits of the thorn. Now we are seeing how, whether right or wrong. So always the developed countries think that they are, whatever they are doing, that is right. And the weaker one, they are actually fighting against it. So we don't know who is right, who is wrong. But when we accept the dharma, so it clearly says, right? It clearly says to be fixed our mind only on the dharma. So the actual war or fight is happening everywhere inside our mind. So mind is everything. How you actually fix your mind on dharma. But the moment you fix your mind on to the fruit, then all this war and other unrest will start coming. So what is the lesson for us? So in this today's global instability, we must find our internal Ayodhya. So if our peace depends on the auspicious news of the day, if we see what is happening, if we get the news and based on that news we think whether it is auspicious or inauspicious, then we are actually a slave. So if it depends on our connection to the divine, then we are free. Even in the exile, we have seen, even during the exile, he was connected to the divine. So that means he is free. But you are getting some good news, you are superpower, you are getting good news. Even then, you are actually a slave. So the bridge of faith is the most important. We have seen that during the Gajendra pastime, right? And when you see here, when talking about Rama, so while building this bridge to Lanka, the building of the Setu, right, the bridge to Lanka, this monkey army, the army that time was all the monkeys were throwing into the stones into the ocean. So now, can you make a bridge by throwing stones into the ocean? Everybody will laugh at you. So this monkeys army of monkeys, they were throwing stones into the ocean. So what is the problem? If you throw the stone into the ocean, it will merge. So now this superpower, that time it was Ravana's Lanka. So with nothing but rocks and devotion, this mirror that Gajendra moment, right? We have seen Gajendra was an elephant. He's so powerful elephant, but he was a very small particle in front of the crocodile because in water, crocodile is the king. So, what is this chapter 28 moment? The stone was floating, or the stone will float when Rama was written on them. So, in global context, the modern warfare, we rely on this iron dome, smart bombs, you know? So all these drones. So, but this Ramayana, it teaches us that the weight of our problem. So the stones, basically the problem you can relate with stones, right? This problem also can float when tether them with divine name. So what they did, they wrote Rama in those stones and the stone started floating and there was the bridge. So these stones, if you consider them as a problems, right? But when they are tethered, we tether them with divine name, then it will become automatically, it will become a bridge. So you don't have to be a superpower to overcome the global crisis. What you need is you have to be only a servant whose work is offering, right? So the perfect example again from Ramayana, we see that Bibhishan, right? So who was Bibhishan? He was the brother of the enemy king Ravana, and he leaves the side of the superpower, worldly power of Ravana to seek the shelter of Rama's feet. So Rama's generals, when Vibhishana went to Rama, so Rama's generals, they were suspicious. They thought Vibhishana, he is a spy, he is an enemy. So they suggested for military solution. So what was chapter number 928 response? So Rama famously said, if someone seek my shelter even once, I shall protect him from all the fears. He himself mentioned this, we are seeing in this particular shloka. So seek my shelter. Even once you seek my shelter, I will protect him. Just like we have seen Sudarshana Chakra protecting Amrish Maharaj. So Rama's protection was absolute because Vibhishna surrender was total. There was no conspiracy in that, right? Vibhishna, though he was the brother of the superpower King Ravana, still he chose to take the shelter of Rama. So, what is the lesson for us in this particular 2026? So, in this world, there will be always us versus them, right? And this kind of global polarization. The devotee always choose the side of dharma, like Vibhishna did. So, we must always willing to walk away from the auspicious side of power to stand on the side of truth. So Rama's protection is the only way, or we call it as Iron Dome, right? So we know how this Iron Dome, what they called it as, right? Which protects from all the missiles. But what is happening, right? Still the missiles are falling. So if we don't build Lord as our Iron Dome, nothing is guaranteed. You may call yourself as superpower, you may have Iron Dome, you may have all the advanced drones, anti-missiles, but still you will have you have to face the destructions. So we'll go to the conclusion here. So how do we celebrate Ram Navami? Uh, Even at the time of this global war. So we have to fix our mind. So use the mind of Ram Nama, the name of Rama, as your mental anchor against all the inauspicious news. Whatever we may face, so many inauspicious news. Recently, even our leader compared it as the situation, he compared it as a COVID situation. Sooner or later, we'll feel similar kind of situation. So, in auspicious news, so we have to have the mental anchor against all this inauspicious news. So, act as a offering, do your duty as a professional. If you are working, you are a professional, you do your duty as a parent, as a citizen, you do your duty, but offer all your stress and the success you are carrying from those roles, be it be professional or your as a parent or a citizen, you always getting some success, some stress, you offer it to the Lord. That is what is telling in this shlok as well as the previous shlok, shlok number 27. So, what is my goal? My goal is for liberation. That is called vimukta. Vimukta is not escaping the world. You know, if war is happening, let me run away from there and go to some other shelter. So, talking about this shelter, I can recollect just last year thing where some of my friends actually they left India and took the citizenship of Dubai. They were complaining that in India the tax rules are like a monster. So they don't wanted to live in India. They wanted to run away to tax shelters. So what is now it is now very famous. People are calling it as the people were seeking for tax shelter. Now they are the same people are seeking for bomb shelters. So they left their countries, they took the shelter of a different country, and there immediately there is missiles falling and they are looking for bomb shelters. So we may apply our logic in a different ways, right? Because these logics are materialistics, they cannot protect you. There is no guarantee they will protect you. So that we can easily compare how Bhivishna chose, even having everything, part of the superpower country, he left that and he took the shelter of Lord Rama. So on this Ram Navami, let's not just pray for the end of these external wars. Let us use the sword of Gita, this particular shlok number 28, to cut the bondage of our own attachments. Because the actual war is happening inside us, right? Our enemies are not external, not our neighbor, not our um, some relatives, you call it, or some office colleagues, or the other countries. Actual the enemy is sitting inside our mind. So when we fix our mind on Rama, we are already home, and the war can no longer touch us. So, finishing this, just to say how in ISKCON actually we celebrate Ram Navami. So generally we devotee fast till sunset, and they hear Ram Katha. They do chanting, uh, and hear the pastimes of Ramayana. So, uh, so this hearing process, or if you see this chapter number 9, in the beginning it is saying the hearing process. He is talking about the hearing process. And then there is uh, ceremonies like, Abhishek, that is bathing of the deities of Sita, Rama, Lakshman, and Hanuman with sacred substances like milk, honey, and fruit juices. And then something called as Panakam distribution, where the traditional cool drinks made of jaggery and pepper that symbolize the sweetness of Lord Mercy during the heat of not only the climate, the heat of the struggle. So the final call is Jai Shri Ram. So let his light be our shield, the Iron Dome, basically. Let's take his lessons as our Iron Dome to protect all kind of these missiles like, greed, fear, and miseries. So these are actual missiles. So let us shield ourselves with this Iron Dome of um, Krishna by chanting, associating with the devotees, having Krishna Prasadam. So we'll close it here. Granth Raj Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. So thank you, Prabhujis and Matajis. We'll end up here. If you have any sharings or any question, we can just discuss.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for a wonderful class.
Thank you, Mataji, for joining.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Pranams to everybody assembled. Pranams to you. A very, very happy Ram Navami to all of you.
Happy Ram Navami to all.
Thank you,
Let's
Prabhuji.
visit the
Pranams.
temple. There are a lot of celebration happening in your nearby temple. So please go
Hare
visit.
Krishna Prabhu, Dandat Pranam. Thank you very
Hare
much,
Krishna.
Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very
Prabhu,
much.
if anybody wants to speak about Lord Ram, they could speak on the platform for 2 minutes or 1 minute if they want to share something.
Yes.
Most of your class was about yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
No, Lord Ram, the life shows us how we should be behave in family. You see, every feature of family, how son should be, how wife should be, how father love for children, how that brothers love, how the kingdom is a elder person to behave in society. That shows so much examples are there which we should be follow. Then our house can become Ram Rajya actually, Ayodhya actually. So these are the teachings has to be followed for in Kali Yuga, and every house can become Ayodhya actually that way.
Yes, very well.
Thank you, Prabhu. Giving me time
Thank you so much.
time to speak to 2 minutes actually, can you?
Thank you, Anukul Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji
Anybody
Dandavat
want to
Pranam.
share something?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you for joining. So then we'll stop here. We'll join tomorrow again. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Dandavat.
Dandavata.
Dandavat.